Hello, Mr. Nelson. I'm Alex. I'm from your McKinney Christian dual credit history class, and this is my 5-minute video just talking about what I got out of my paper, what I learned, and just like a big overview of my paper. So, my paper was titled Reconstruction and African American Rights, and it was all about the Reconstruction era and the rights that were granted to the slaves after they were freed after the Civil War, after that was fought for by the North against the southern part of the United States, and just like what they really gained from that, and eventually ended up losing. But yeah, we'll get into all that. So, an overview of it started with the Reconstruction Amendments and the Freedmen's Bureau. I think that's how you say it. I'm pretty sure. And it had black political rise, and then it talks about the backlash of the amendments and the rights that black people got, and then also like the Jim Crow laws, and just like the backlash that the former slaves got from the freedom. Sorry, it took a minute to say. Okay. I have my slideshow pulled up right here. That's what I'm not reading off anything. I'm not reading a script. It's to help me remember what to talk about. So from the Reconstruction era lasted from 1865 to 1877, sorry. And it was probably one of the more important and debated times in American history. It's when, obviously, the North won the Civil War and slaves were freed, but it was where they had to find homes, jobs, education. They had to find their place in a society that treated them as property for a long time. The 13th, 14th, and 15th amendments dropped, and they basically they gave slaves for their freedom, obviously. The 13th Amendment abolished slavery, and the 14th and 15th Amendments both, they made them equal to other citizens in the U.S. and gave them the right to vote. The 15th Amendment gave African Americans the right to vote, or the slaves, the former slaves. So this also, this gave them a lot of political power. It gave the former slaves a lot of political power that they had never had before. So they could now vote. They could now run an office. They could help. How do I put it? They could help Congress make a lot more decisions, and there's a couple black people that actually built schools, built homes, increased education. They helped a lot, and they had a lot more political power. And another big part of the Reconstruction was the Freedmen's Bureau, and it basically it protected black rights, protected black voters. It educated America about the new black rights that were being granted, and so there was obviously a lot of gains that the former slaves got from the Reconstruction era, and just the Freedmen's Bureau and all the laws that were put in place, the amendments. So this was also obviously faced with a lot of backlash and a lot of resistance. Let's see. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. So this resistance included the Ku Klux Klan, Jim Crow laws. They're all very well known. They're all very talked about today, because it was a terrible time in American history. To be honest, everybody knows that it's a very disappointing part of our history, but it's something that happened and something that people know about. There's a lot of people trying to harm, intimidate, attack black leaders, black people in general that were that were former slaves. Black codes were another big part of what caused a lot of the backlash. So by the mid 1870s, the support for Reconstruction began to weaken a lot. People started to go against the Reconstruction and everything that it stood for. Jim Crow laws took away the right for black people to vote, and it created a lot of segregation that we hear about today, like schools, and there's bathrooms, there's water fountains that were separate for black people. It was just a really sad time in American history. And so in the end, the Reconstruction did overall fail, because it didn't fully grant black people the freedom that they were hoping for, that they talked about. It wasn't a full, they weren't really free until, obviously, it still made a huge impact for the civil rights movement that happened about 100 years later. It definitely helped that come about. So it was a success and it was a failure. It wasn't one or the other, if that makes sense. It obviously helped. It helped them. It helped slaves in a lot of ways, but it didn't fully free them until later on. Obviously today there is racism, but it's not slavery. It's not as heavy as it was back then. And it shows the impact it had on American history and just how important that whole era was, and just the overall effect it had on us. And so, that was just basically the overview of my paper. I enjoyed writing it. It's a topic I really enjoy. It's something that I learned about a lot last year. And that's all I have to say about it. Thank you so much for watching.